Hi besties, I'll be showing you how to make this bustier top. So it's a lace top and the style inspiration is from Veekee James. It is easy and very simple to draft and sew. So if you want to know how I achieved this, do not skip any part of this video and do not forget to like, share and subscribe and always on your post notification button. Now for this tutorial I have my lace here and I equally bought a lace trimming, so I have 2 yards here and we'll be drafting out on our pattern paper. Now on the pattern paper I'm just now drafting, like I'm drawing out my starting line, and from there I'll be coming down by 9 inches for my chest line, 10 inches for my bust point, 13 for my under bust, my waist is 16 and the full length of the top I have here is 23 inches. So after marking out your points, I'm going to roll them into a straight line. So this is my chest line, bust point, under bust, my waistline, and this is the full length of my top. Now the next thing is on that starting line, I'm going to divide my round shoulder into two, then I'll mark the same measurement on the chest line and I'll rule that into a straight line. So we're just drafting out a basic bodice. So I hope by now we understand how to draft out a basic bodice. Now for the neck width I'm using 3 inches, and for the depth for the back neckline, for the front I'm using 6 inches for the depth of the front neckline. So I used 7 inches, sorry. So for the front neckline the depth is 7 inches and I connected to the neck width. Now on the armhole side I came down 1 inch for my shoulder slope and I will connect this way. After that I'm going to measure what I have on the armhole. I'll get half of that. On that point I'll come in by half an inch. On the chest line I'm going to divide my round bust by 4 mark, then I'm going to connect the 3 points together to cover my armhole. Yeah, this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple measurement all the way down to the full length of the pattern. After marking that, I'll rule that into a straight line. So for the dart intake on the full length I'm going to mark a dart of 1 inch on both sides. I'll do the same on the waistline, a dart of 1 inch on both sides, and on the under bust I'll equally be taking a dart of 1 inch on both sides. So actually we took a dart of 2 inches, so I distributed it 1 inch on both sides and I'll connect them into a straight line. So after doing that, from the bust point I'll come down 1 inch below the bust point and I'll use my curve ruler to connect to that point. So we are drafting an armhole princess dart for the top. So I'm done. So the next thing I'm going to do now is we're going to connect our dart to the center of our armhole. So remember that half inch we came in at the center of the armhole, that is where we'll be connecting. So I'm going to use my curve ruler. Watch the way I'm placing my curve ruler and where I'm connecting. So I connected it to the half inch we came in at the center of the armhole, and from that point I'll come down by 1 inch and I'll be connecting that back to the 1 inch we came below the bust point. See, so I'll be extending that point out by 1 inch. So I'm going to measure to make sure I have 1 inch and I'll reconnect. So this is to make sure I don't have any shortage on my armhole, and we are clearly done. So the next thing I'm going to do now is we are going to replace any dart intake we have on that point. On the waistline, I divided my round waist by 4. So whatever I have there, I'm going to place that measurement. Then I'm going to replace the dot of 2 inches we have on that point. Now I'll connect the measurement I have on the chest line to the one on the waistline. On the full length of the pattern, I'm going to divide my round hip divided by 4. Then I'll add the 2 inches dots and I'll connect. So I'll be adding my sewing allowance on the fabric. So I added another paper to the lower part. Sorry, that part didn't show. So I added another paper to that length because this is how I want mine to be. So from the original length of the blouse, I'll just go up by 2 inches and I'll reconnect to the full length. So if you don't want to do this, you can just go up by 2 inches on your actual full length, and when you go up by these 2 inches and reconnect, you're done. But I just wanted the shape I have on my blouse. So if you do it like this, you can cut out if you don't want to do this thing I'm doing. But mine, I added another paper, and from the full length I have earlier, I came down by 1.5 inch. Then I folded in the dots because this is how I want mine to look. Like I said, if you don't want yours like this, just go up by 2 inches on the side of your pattern, connect the way I did, and cut out your pattern if you don't want to do this thing I'm doing. But I wanted mine to have the shape. That is why I added another paper below the full length I had, and I came down from that full length by 1.5 inch, connected my paper. I connected my dot the way I'm doing on the video, and I will just trace it in this way. So this is how I wanted mine to look. Then I'll reconnect like this. So this is what I wanted. Like I said, if you don't want to do this, it's optional. Just leave your pattern the way it is. Just go up by 2 inches on the side and connect back to the full length, and you're good to go. That is how Veekee James own is actually. But this is what I wanted, right? So I'm done connecting, and this is what the pattern looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just to cut out our pattern. So watch the places I'm cutting so you don't make any mistake. So guys, if you've watched up to this point and you've not liked my video or commented, what are you waiting for? Please drop a comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. So this is what we have after cutting out. Just image it together to make sure that I have. So this is how I wanted the shape of mine to be. So that's what I have achieved here. You see it. So I'm just showing you guys. Now we're going to be working on the front piece. So now this is the lace trimming that we are going to add to the front of our piece. Now the lace trimming you brought, you're going to measure it so you know how much you're cutting out at the center front. You get. So I measured mine and I have 1/2 inch. So I'll be taking out 1/2 inch at the center front of my front pattern, because I'll be replacing that with my lace trimming. So if you get a lace trimming, measure it to know if it's 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 1/2 inch, so you know how much you're taking out from your center front. So I'm done marking out. I'm just going to cut that part off. So now this is what I have. I'll keep it aside. Let's draft out our back piece. Now for the back, I've marked out my lines, I've marked my chest line, starting line, waistline, and the full length. Remember, the full length of my pattern is 23 inches. Now I'll just divide my round shoulder by 2, mark the same measurement on the chest line, just like we did for the front. So for the neck width, I'm using 3 inches for the neck width, and the depth for the back neckline is 1 inch. So I will connect. On the armhole side, I'll come down 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and I'll connect that to the neck width. Now coming to the chest line, I'll divide my round bust by 4 mark. I'll connect. On the waistline, I'm going to divide my round waist by 4. But if I do that, I'm just going to mark my nipple to nipple measurements all the way down to the full length, because we'll be adding a dart to the lower parts of we'll be adding a dart to the back piece, sorry. So after marking my nipple to nipple measurement, I'll connect that into a straight line. So on the waistline, I'm going to take a dart of 1 inch, that is half an inch on both sides. I'll do the same thing on the full length, a dart of half an inch on both sides. So we'll take a dart of 1 inch for the back piece, and I'll connect from the full length to the waistline. And from the waistline to the chest line. This is what I have. Now coming to the waistline, to the chest line, I've already taken my bust measurements. I don't have any that to replace there. Now on the waistline, I'll divide my round waist by 4. I'll replace that of 1 inch I have there. Now coming to the full length, I'll divide my round hip by 4. Then add my sewing allowance, my replace the dart of 1 inch, and I'll connect the lines. So the sewing allowance, I'll be adding that on the fabric. So all I did here was to divide my measurement wherever I have a dart intake. I did what I replaced the dart I have. They have, this is so understandable. So just like we did for the front, I'll come up by 2 inches on the side, and I'll reconnect it to the full length. So that was what I was explaining at the front piece. If you don't want to do that extra paper I added, just do it this way and then cut out your pattern. There's no need of adding the extra I added for the front piece. Now at the center back, that is on the waistline, I came in by 0.75 and I connected back. This is to help with zipper bulge. So this will help your back to sit properly when you attach your zip. And that is all for the back. The next thing is for us to just trim out everything we have here. So guys, please, besties, be watching my videos, be liking my videos, please. I'm begging you guys. The more you like, the more you comment, the more you give me a thumbs up. That is how the algorithm gets to push out the videos to people that needs it. Please, I'm begging you guys. Now this is what I have. So I'm going to place the side of the front to the side of the back. So if you cut it out correctly, the both sides should do what should merge. You're not going to have any shortage. So let's go cut out on our fabric. So here, this is the front piece. I've cut it out on my fabric. Now at the back, I added 1 inch for zipper allowance, 1.5 inch for sewing allowance, and half inch at the shoulder part. Now this is for the back, and I'm going to notch my darts on the pattern, on the dress, sorry. So I've notched my dart, so I'll know where I'll be fixing my dart. Now this is for the front. I had a half inch at the side and at the upper part. Then watch the patterns, you see the places I added my sewing allowance. So I'll just take out the pins and I'll be joining. So for the center front, remember you are cutting out two. You're not cutting it on fold, you're cutting it out 2 pieces like this. Then get the sides of it, and I'll be placing them right side facing each other this way. So place the sides that are going to go to each other. So I'm going to place them right side facing each other this way. Then I'll take it to the machine. I'll go stitch with half an inch. I'll do the same thing on this other side, and I'll bring it back, show you what I have. So after stitching, so this is for the back piece, I've imputed my darts. That is why I notched it earlier. And this is for the front. I'm done sewing the 2 sides of the front as well. Now I'm going to get my lace trimming. So this is the part we're going to add the lace trimming. So get the lace trimming and place it on it this way. Then you go top stitch all the way down to the full length. So place your lace trimming, then go top stitch it all the way down to the full length. So whatever you do for this side, you're going to repeat the same thing. I'll do that and bring it back. So here I'm done stitching. You see what we have, everything is coming together. Now we're going to place it on each other this way. So you place it on each other, and you'll be top stitching. So you can close it very well the way I have here. If you don't want it that close, you can do what, shift it a little bit, like just shift it. See how I shifted it, and top stitch. So whichever one, so just top stitch. I'll do that and bring it back. So here I'm done stop stitching, and this is what I have. Now I made a belt because I wanted to add belt to mine. So I made a belt, and that is what I'm adding to the waistline of the front. Then I'll get the back piece. Now I'll go close the shoulders with half inch. Then after closing the shoulders with half inch, I'll close the sides with the sewing allowance I added on the sides. I'll do that and I'll bring it back to show what I have. Now this is what we have. We are done. I added the lace trimming to the neckline at the back piece as well, so do not forget to do that. So for the sleeve now, this is the pattern I'm using. For the full length of my sleeve, I used 12 inches. So Veekee James own is up to 14 inches, but I didn't want mine to be that long. So I used 12 inches for mine. So it depends on how long you want your sleeve to be. It's entirely up to you. Then after that, I came down by 3 inches for my biceps, and I'll roll that out. So if you watch Veekee James own, her sleeve is very big. I didn't want that much volume. Now I'm just going to connect this way. This is how I usually just cover out my armhole. After that, then I'll take the round armhole measurement, then add my sewing allowance. So Veekee James own is like a slash and spread. So after cutting out your pattern, then you slash it to get more volume. So I'll take the measurement down to the full length and I'll cut it out. So after cutting out your paper, if you want that volume like Veekee James own, you can do what, slash this your paper and spread it on your fabric and get more volume, but I didn't want that. Now this is what I have. So for mine, since I didn't want that much volume, I didn't do a slash and spread. So I just pinned my pattern on my fabric. The only thing I did was to add extra 3 inches to the side of my paper. So like I said, instead of doing this thing like I did, you can just slash your pattern so you get more volume. But this is how I wanted it to be, and that is why I did mine like this. So I'm just showing you guys how to go about the sleeve. If you want more volume, do a slash and spread on the paper, then spread it on the fabric as much as you want, then cut it out. So I'm just going to cut out what I have here. So this is the sleeve after cutting out. You're going to get 2 bias. Now open it up the way I'm doing in the video. You have to, right? Open it up the way I'm doing. Now place one underneath the sleeve. Now get the other one, open it up, place the other one on top of the sleeve. Now the lace is salvaged in between the 2 bias. Now take it to the machine and go stitch it down. So this is where you're going to be placing your boning. Since it's a lace, if you place your boning this way to show, so salvage it in between the 2 bias and show and sew. So I'll do that and bring it back to show you. Now after sewing, you see what we have. So this is what it's going to look like after you're done sewing. Now I'm going to get my bone and I'll be placing it in between the bias that we've created, and if you place in between, then you close it up this way and top stitch on top. So I'm going to repeat it again. Open up the bias you've sewn, place your bone in between this way, then close it the way I'm doing in the video, and you're going to be top stitching on it. Now before you close up, please make sure that your bias, you give space, leave 1 inch for your sewing allowance before you place your bias, so that it doesn't affect your sewing. So I'll do that and bring it back to show you. Now I've already sewn one. Now do you see how structured the sleeve is? And remember to use that your lace add that lace to the neckline of your back piece. You can equally add it to the hem if you want, but I didn't add mine. Now this is the sleeve that we've sewn. You see how what we have. So now to attach it to the top, open up your seam allowance for the sleeve and do the same for the top. Place them right like this, right side facing each other, and use half to sew. So I'll do that and bring it back to show you. So guys, after sewing, this is how structured our sleeve is. So if you want it more volume, like I said, do a slash and spread. Now after doing that, add your zip, and that will be all for this tutorial. So thank you guys so much for watching up to this point. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel, and on your post notification so you'll be notified. I'll see you on my next video. Bye.